What's up, man?
Not much.
I know you're not Chase. What's your name?
Oh, damn it. Dustin Franklin. I
That's
don't know how to change my name.
I'm going to come and do a class for your team in June, I think, or July. Role play conversation class.
Okay.
Let's see, it's too low.
There we go.
We'll see. You're the only one on so far. What happens when you miss a class because of the holiday last week? That's why I don't like missing.
I wonder if that's one. No, I don't think it was last week. I think the week prior, I tried to jump in like right at 59 or whatever. I couldn't get into class. It's like, dang.
You mean you were too late?
By like a minute, because it was 9:59 when I was trying to jump in, but
It shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's okay. It doesn't cut off.
oh, well, I don't know what happened then.
So we got another minute before we start. Welcome, everyone. It's Friday, June 2nd. It's awesome. If you have the opportunity, turn your cameras on. That's appreciated. Unless you're in a car wash or a tanning bed. That would be awesome. I don't know if John will be here today. We'll see. And if your name is Sherry, that's because that's how it defaults. So we'll have a lot of Sherry's here. Go ahead and go to your name and you can click on it and put in your right name. And if you want to put in your location, I've had actually some referrals transpire out of people in this class. And you never know what happens. And by the way, it's recorded and then it's posted to my YouTube channel. So you don't know when somebody's going to see this and say, I need an agent in Tucson. I had my first, Dustin had my first trip down to Rocky Point a week or so ago.
Born and raised here, never been.
Long drive. Well, I've got 1 o'clock. I've got 1 o'clock Eastern. Welcome to Mastery with Master Roleplay with Denny Grimes. And I don't know if my co-host will be here, John. And we were gone. We were not on last week. So we'll see what the crowd is. I'm not worried about it because the people who should be here will be here and we're all going to learn. Okay. So if you have been on before, or if you're new one way or the other, this is a mastery level role play. That doesn't mean beginners can't be here. It's just that we are going to work from a mastery level. We're going to teach you how to think, not so much on what to say. And what in the form that I like, in the format I like to use in a role plays is all questions, question-based. Listening enhanced conversations. You'll be shocked at how well you can do with your conversations when you listen. When you listen, you kind of know what to say next. I will remind you guys that this recording will be posted on the YouTube channel. If you want to be a subscriber to that, we have our approach at 800 on there now, and we want to build it up to 1,000. It's our next goal. And we have over 200 videos already there for you to watch, and you can practice and learn your conversations. That is basically, if you want to get out your camera, that is the QR code to that. And if you want me to put it back on when we're done, I'm happy to do it. And here we go. So one thing I said earlier, there is a program that I have daily that MAPS. MAPS is a Keller Williams training arm, and it's called Recon. If you want more of this on a daily basis, it's 30 minutes, 8:30 to 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And that's the Zoom numbers and the passcode. If you want to get into that, that's totally free. You don't have to be with Keller Williams. This is just going to be a little daily dose of mastery level conversations. And as I shared with them today when I was on, I always start with something special about today. Today's June 2nd. Hard to believe it's June. It's summertime in most places, except for maybe Minnesota. There's always something I share special. And for the baseball fans, in 1935, June 2nd was the day that Babe Ruth retired. Now, I'm not a big baseball fan. I like sports. However, what's important about it, as I said, is Babe Ruth was noted for his home runs. He played over 20 years, 10 World Series. Obviously, he had a home run record. And what we want to do, and not only in the recon, in this mastery level session that we're in, we want to make you guys the Babe Ruths of your market center, of your office. I want, when you walk up to the plate, I want buyers and sellers to think that, wow, this is really a pro, and it would be a pleasure to do business with you. So that's kind of my thought. And I always start with a thought of the day, and this being the first of the month, what we're going to have is a Friday free-for-all. I'm going to get in as many conversations as I can. So if you have a scenario that you want to throw me, that you were in, you want to know how I handle it. If you want to handle a buyer-seller conversation, raise your hand, put it in the chat. I think I'm flying alone here today, so I'll do my best to be able to get everybody in. And do we have any takers in the meantime? I have a 4-minute limit on the conversations, and you guys can go, we can do it, and then we can kind of teleprompt it and go back and play the film on it and talk about what you could do better. Is anybody willing to go first? Anybody? Just raise your hand or speak out. I cannot role play by myself. If I do, it's kind of like playing pickleball by myself. It will be very boring for you guys to watch. So Ricky, you're up top. Are you ready to go in Prescott, Arizona?
Why would you call on me first?
Well, I can call on you second. Dustin, you're the first one on.
I would love to, but I don't have any experiences yet. I haven't even started doing buyer presentations or anything like that. So I don't have scenarios to base it off of yet.
That's awesome. Are you working in real estate right now, or are you just Ubering full time?
No, I'm in the office, just learning things and whatnot, so that I can get to the point where they feel comfortable with me actually going out with real clients.
So let me ask you a question. And hey, listen, you can tap out anytime you want. Here's my question. You're filling up your gas in Tucson, right? And somebody sees that maybe you have a name badge on or whatever, and say, hey, you're in real estate, right, Dustin? Are you in real estate?
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking, I got my mom and dad are moving into town. They need somebody. Will you help me with find a house for them?
I'd be happy to help you.
I mean, you wouldn't run back to the office and say, I know I'm not ready yet. I'm still in training.
No.
Okay, guess what? I'm your huckleberry today. This could happen. And so you can practice on a real customer. It could cost you thousands of dollars. Hey, Rob, or we can go over it right now. What do you want to do?
We can go over it. I'm happy to send it.
All right. So you guys, you've got somebody here. This takes a lot of guts, that he is new. A lot of you guys don't even have your cameras on. This guy has his camera on. He's stepping up, because here's the thing. Is it possible? Oh, there you go, Jen. Is it possible you'll run into someone today that wants to buy or sell real estate? And what are you going to do? So, all right. So Dustin, all right. So I'm going to start with something easy. Hey, listen, I'm going to be the buyer. And well, I'd like to buy, I'm filling up my car with gas. And well, I'll tell you what, do you have a few minutes? We'll pop in here and get a big gulp. Can we chat a little bit?
Absolutely. I'd love to talk about what your needs are.
Awesome. So here we go. Let me see if I can find my little timer here. So you won't have to be here on all 50 minutes that's left, okay? All right, we're sitting down having a big gulp. So let me ask you, well, I'd like to buy a house, but I'm a little concerned right now that interest rates are kind of high. So
okay,
what do you have to say?
A very valid concern. It's a concern of many other people, right? The great thing about interest rates is they do move. The thing is the house that you might want might get sold to somebody else and you won't be able to get it again, right? So if we find a house that you do want, and maybe the interest rates are a little high right now, if you're able to make those payments, then let's get you into that house now, and then keep track and keep in contact with the lenders. That way, when those interest rates do come back down, let's refi that house, get your payment back under, get you that good interest rate, and then you're rolling with the house you wanted in the first place, as opposed to settling for another house because you didn't quite like those payments right now.
All right, for someone who's brand new, I just pulled him off the gas pump, and he's probably like, wanting to like turn off his camera and hide or something. How did he do, gang?
Amazing.
So, yes, it's like the first time you drive a stick shift. Now, I know there's people out there that don't know what a stick shift is. They used to make transmissions that weren't automatic. And so he was stripping the gears a little bit. It's a little chunky. However, here's the thing. Now, we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that scenario right now, Dustin, so everyone can learn. There's no judgment. Now, who wants to step up and now handle the same conversation following question-based? Notice he didn't ask any questions. He doesn't know the model yet, so we're going to handle the same conversation using the model: acknowledge, isolate, clarify, answer, close. So, Jenny, are you ready to demonstrate this for God and everybody, including Dustin?
Yes.
Okay, so we're in the 7-Eleven or in the gas station having a Slurpee, and I'm saying, hey, look, I'm interested in buying. However, I'm a little concerned that the interest rates are a little bit too high. Let me reset this. And if you guys should be taking notes, okay? So get out your pen, pencil, lipstick, mascara, whatever you use to take notes, or even your Palm Pilot. You got a Palm Pilot, you can use that. All right, here we go. I'm concerned the interest rates are a little bit too high.
Yes, Danny, I understand. This is a valid concern. Let me ask you this. Is there anything else besides the high interest rates that stops you from buying a house right now?
I'm going to stop the timer because we're building this for people that don't know the process. She handled the first two steps there, Dustin. Did you hear her? She said, I understand. That's the acknowledgement. Now, one thing going to a mastery level that I want to make sure you guys don't do, there's a difference between acknowledging and then being sympathetic. For example, I understand. Those are the best words. Anything beyond that, I want you to picture yourself grabbing a shovel, digging a hole, and you're going to be in it. For example, I understand. Everybody I talk to feels the same way. I feel the same way. I wouldn't buy a home in this market anyway. So you see what I'm saying? Sometimes we want to align ourselves so much with our acknowledgement that we make matters worse. And somebody could say, I don't want to buy a house till Elvis returns. I understand. That works. Then stop. The next thing she did, which is perfect, is she isolates. Other than that, so Dustin, when you heard it, and again, I'm just using you as an example, and a lot of people on the call are in the same position. When they hear an objection, they feel like they have to answer it. And then guess what? You think you're done. Oh no. It's kind of like, your kids, they wanted just a cookie. No, they want more. They want 2 cookies, and they want a milk. They want more. And now you're playing whack-a-mole. So what we want to do is do our best to get everything on the table at one time and then work it from there. So awesome job. Where'd you go? I don't see you. Are you still there? Did I lose you? There you are, Jenny. All right. So going back, other than that, she said, no, I'm ready to buy. I just I just think the interest rates are too high.
I understand, Danny. Let me ask you this. Are you currently renting?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Stop. Now, when you're talking to a buyer, quick review, if you're taking notes, classic. She is like following the model on a classic format. Now, I believe that's one of the first questions you should ask someone, because the conversation is going to go differently depending on that answer. So you don't want to, for example, if you're an Uber driver, you might want to ask where they're going before you start driving. Because if you don't, you might have to turn around and come back. Nice job. Okay, you're getting an A+ already. So Jenny, where are you located?
I'm here.
No, I know you're there, but where? What city?
Oh, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona.
You're in Scottsdale. Okay. Well, all right, here we go. I'm going to say You want me to, what do you want? You want me to own or rent?
You want, obviously you're a renter. Yeah,
No, I'm
definitely.
asking, do you prefer which one I am?
Renter.
Okay, I'm renting right now, Jenny.
Okay, and Denny, let me ask you this. Have you consulted with your lender to see what your payment would look like if you were to buy a house?
Well, I've been on, no, I was online on one of those, what they call those things, mortgage calculators, so I kind of have an idea.
Okay, I understand. And what is the payment difference you think would be you owning your own house versus you renting?
Well, I'm paying $2,500 a month rent. And I plugged in, I think it was like 6.5% interest rate, sounds about right.
Right,
And my payment was going to be about 3,300.
3,300. Okay, so we're pretty much talking about $800 difference.
From my rent, yes.
Yes. And Danny, let me ask you this. Why is it so important for you to own a house?
Okay. Now, I don't know if you've been, actually have some sort of bug planted over here in my studio that somehow my model, like I feel like you're stalking me or something.
I'm sorry.
I have a slide that I'm going to stop this again. Wait a minute. I have the metaphor, has nothing to do with Babe Ruth that I talked about earlier. I have the metaphor that she's following to help you guys. Every objection basically can fit into a template, right? And so we talked about acknowledge, isolate, that's kind of first base. Second base is motivation. Write it down. Second base is motivation. Unless we have a great understanding of why we want to do something, it's going to be hard to move them. Motivation is what moves them when they don't want to move. I mean, not move. It makes them move forward when they're hesitant. So classic. Now I'm going to ask you a question, Jen. So when we have that conversation, let's see if you're still getting A++, which I never had in school. What's third base?
So pain.
Boom. All right. You're my pet now. All right. So we'll stay on second base. I'm going to restart this now. And I'm going to say, you're asking me, why do I want to move? Well, we've got, I got my mother-in-law moving in. This place isn't big enough. And we want to be able to, improve it, make it our own home.
I understand. So you're trying to have a bigger home so that your family and your mother-in-law would be more comfortable, have more space.
Well, I'm not really concerned about her comfort. I just want my comfort.
No doubt. Let me ask you this. I'm kind of stuck, Denny. I'm trying to think where to go.
Okay, I'm going to stop just a second. Stop. What is my objection?
High interest rate.
Okay. Now have you addressed that yet?
No.
Okay. So that's probably, so you're on second base. You haven't gone to pain yet.
Yes.
So where's my pain? So whenever we're dealing with rates out there, rates are non-emotional. Dollars per month are emotional. So get some clarity around if my objection is rate. Ask some questions about that.
Okay, Danny. So my understanding that we're pretty much talking here about $800 a month that would give you a bigger house, provide you with enough space, correct?
Right.
So we're pretty much talking about $26 a day that would give you your family that comfort. Is that correct?
Now, I'm going to stop a second again for the folks that are on. So $46 a day. How did you do that? You
26. I just divided 800 by 30.
All right. Now, you guys, you know why we do that, because obviously 800 seems like a lot. However, $46 a day seems a little bit more manageable, right? So
Right. Do you think you can afford that?
Yeah. Okay. Hang on a second. Yes, that's a good question. What you're doing when you have a conversation about rate, you have to take it and make it a payment. I don't even use the word payment. I use monthly investment. So are you saying then that you're $40 away from having a bigger home? Is that what's stopping you? You see, now you're making them think. So I'm back on, you got a minute, you're doing really good, go.
And let me ask you, Denny, this. When you were thinking about buying a house, did you plan on your payment obviously being higher than what you're paying now for the rent?
I can't even believe it. I've already given you so much praise, they're gonna think you're my daughter or something, right? So notice what she's doing. See, if you're gonna go from a bad, a less good situation to a better situation, do you think realistically you can go from renting, well, stop this thing, renting to owning without paying some more? What she's going to do, I bet you she's going to take that 800 and slice it down a little bit. I'm just guessing that's where she's going. All right, go. Well,
Yes.
I thought maybe we would be at $3,000 a month.
Okay, so we're about what, $300 that you're now pretty much out of pocket that you did not plan on.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much around what, $10 a day. Do you think $10 a day can get you own a home and get you comfort for the family that you want? Do you think you can afford that? Is this an affordability matter?
You take good notes, or you've got, you've just been snooping on our calls or something. So what you guys hear that? That is a classic way. Now there's really, when we teach mastery role play, it is chess. Now I'm not saying there's one way to play chess. However, she followed the model, the format perfectly as per what we teach here. Anybody learn something? Anybody have an aha? Anyone want to just give her a hand? Nice job. I feel like buying a house right now, even though I'm just role playing. Dustin, what did you
I'm
hear?
ready, Danny, anytime.
What did you hear, Dustin?
I've had this exact same method used on me buying a couple different cars. It does not work on me.
What does it?
When this model and how she was going about it, or what you're talking about, when it comes to buying cars, this does not work on me and irritates the crap out of me. Because I see what you're doing. I know what you're doing. And yes, I will let it still go for $10 a month because I said this is where I want to be.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will. I did it. I made them come down.
Okay, so I'm going to say that may be true. However, if your motivation is big enough, $10 a day wouldn't make or break the deal. And if your wife wants that car and $10 a day you don't buy it, well, if mama ain't happy, guess what? There's just an axiom about that. So it will work in real estate. And we're not, this isn't a trick. This is a conversation to help people see what they're not seeing. So everyone has a limit for sure. So anyway, I wanted you to see that was a perfect example of having the same objection and handle it by asking a lot of questions. John, are you on here somewhere? Because somebody's letting people in. Guess not. All right. Who's next? Who wants to be next? Yael's here. She's always got something. Mike, I got your camera on. I love that. If you can turn your camera on, that'd be great. Dorothy and Ricky, you're supposed to go second.
All right. I'm not a professional, so bear with me. I want to do a seller one.
Okay. I've got one here. I don't want to sell, or I don't want to sell because there's too much competition.
Okay.
Start.
Okay. I completely understand that. Can you tell me more of what you feel too much competition is, or how that would affect us by selling your home?
Well, there's more homes on the market right now than there was like a year ago. And I feel like because there's more homes, the prices aren't where they were, they softened. So I don't think I can get the same number I got, what I've gotten maybe a year ago, year and a half ago.
Okay. And I I would probably have to agree with that, but let's focus on your number. What is it that you need to profit when you sell your home? What do you need to walk away with? What would make you comfortable?
Now, I'm going to stop there just for a second. Is there power in agreeing or just saying, I understand?
No.
So, I mean, that's a very, very small thing. However, what we attempt here, we use a very fine sandpaper. So a better way to say, now it may be true. I mean, in our market, it is true. However, to say you agree, I guess my question would be, does that make them feel like they should sell or should wait?
I think trying to find their goal, and I guess more so I'm thinking to price it right as well. We obviously wouldn't want to overprice it. I would have to see what they're willing to walk away with.
Okay, so this will be fun. We'll get into a pricing conversation. I just wanted to point that out, that maybe you be careful agreeing with them when it doesn't serve you.
Okay.
So just say I understand. Okay, keep going. All right.
Where did we leave off at? Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I forget where we were. Yeah, okay. I don't think I can get the same number right now.
Okay, I understand that. What number are you looking for?
Well, I think, and again, I wanted your opinion on this, but I think it's probably going to be closer to 500, 475, 500 is what my expectations are.
So 500, 400. What if we,
No, I said 475, 500.
475, 500. What if we could get you to that number? Would you be willing to have a conversation so I could show you how I go about my marketing?
Okay, so I stopped you there for a moment. That is a very powerful, thought-provoking question. She actually asked me a question. And remember, my objection is I don't want to sell because there's too much competition. Well, what did you want to sell it for? I said 475 to 5. Now, okay, so I'm going to ask you, what if it's only worth 4 in your mind? What would you have said? Would you have asked me the same question?
If the house was only worth 4?
Or maybe low 4s. Would you have said, well, what if you could still get that number?
No. If I had known that that's what it was comping at.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so, well, if I could, okay, so let's play this because you wanted to get into a pricing discussion. Let's say it's your best guess, it's 450 down. I want 450 up. So if I could get that number, yeah, if I could get 475.5, I would be willing to put it on the market.
Okay, and I think maybe we jumped a little too soon. If you don't mind me asking, what is the reason why you're wanting to sell?
Well, we want to downsize, kids have moved out and we want to move into a 55 and older community.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, do you owe anything on your home currently?
Okay, I'm going to stop just for a second. I'm curious, and I'm not even coaching you. I'm curious, what good is that question?
Because I want to see what they're willing to walk away with. So I'm still trying to get to that point. So if they want, say, it's worth 450, say it is worth 450, and they owe maybe only $100,000 more on the home, would listing it at a lower price be, would that be a struggle for them, I guess?
Interesting. And just editorializing, here's my opinion on it. I believe that there's that game, what's it called, Jenga or something, that has a stack of bricks and you pull the things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every question we ask someone, I believe it kind of pulls a log out, meaning their attention span is only going to go so far. So I attempt to hit the key points and not hit the minor points? Now, that may be an awesome question you want to ask. I'm just saying, for me, as a seller, what I owe and what I'm willing to accept and what the market is willing to bear, I don't see it as relevant. Now, I wouldn't flunk you on this because of that. I was just kind of curious why you asked. I would just categorize that in the way I play chess as a minor question, not a major one. However, I stopped your clock. Keep going. You're doing great.
Actually, I don't even know what more to say.
I don't know anything. There's no mortgage on it.
Okay, perfect. So if we were to list it at the 450, you would walk away with 450.
Say it again.
So if you don't owe anything, and if we were to list it at 450 and we were to sell it at 450, then you could walk away with 450, obviously minus paying the listing fees and closing costs.
Yeah, but I'm not selling it for 450. I want 475 or 500.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need help with this.
Okay, phone a friend. I'll stop. Why are you stumped?
Um,
All right, let me land the plane here. I'll just reverse it. You be the seller.
okay,
Don't change personalities on me because I want to start all over again. Okay, let's just go with what I said. So this is how I would play it. So if you could get 475 to 500 in this market, would you be ready to move forward with me today?
I would.
All right. So, obviously, when you look at the past sales are all less than 450s, 475, 500 seems a little aggressive. However, if I were willing to do that initially, where would you be willing to start?
I would be willing to start at 475 so we can get to 450.
Got it. All right, awesome. And I said, okay, congratulations, then we're going to work together. Knuckle bump. Now that may be different than what you guys do. However, this is what I teach. Is that if they have an expectation, I'm going to stop here just for a second, and we can have a discussion if you guys want to talk about it. So Ricky and I saw some other heads nodding. When you show that the past sales are 450 to down, nothing more than 450, can you say for certain that my house wouldn't sell at 475?
No, and I think a practice that I have started was using current comps to see what's currently on the market, what it's being sold for, days on market.
Yeah.
I haven't really used the past comp.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the 72 sold among other companies philosophy, which is okay. Here's my point. Agents have missed the market so badly in the last 2.5 or 3 years that they've come in with their quote CMAs and they've been selling for significantly over, multiple offers, et cetera, et cetera. So it has taught me, it has underlined the fact that what we do not know what it's going to sell for. I challenge anybody on this call, anybody who has a real estate license, I challenge them to disprove the fact that we don't know where top market value is until it's exposed. So if there's going to be a discussion of where it should be positioned, I want to have it after I've agreed to work with them. Now, that comes with a couple caveats. Number one, whose number is it? It's the seller's number. Now, when you walk in there, and if you have never had the opportunity yet to walk in, and many of you guys, if you stay in real estate long enough, this will happen. You'll walk in and you'll do your computer generated competitive market analysis and say, okay, I think it should list it at 437.5. And we might get, maybe it'll be bid up to 440. That's where I think it should be listed. And you know what? Market softens a little bit or a lot. And now you're at 440 and you're not getting any offers. Now you've got to walk in and tell the seller, we have to lower the price below your number. Anybody ever had to do that? It's not a good conversation. So I believe that they own the number. Now, once we have a knuckle bump, then here's how I'm going to finish the conversation in the next 54 seconds, Ricky, is this. So now that we're agreed to work together, I'm your agent. Do you mind if I move my chair on your side of the table and consult you in strategic positioning?
Never mind.
So now I'm having a conversation about, I may show the actives, blah, 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 and I'm just going to ask one question. Ricky, what are you going to do if the market rejects you at 475?
I think I'm pretty firm on that price. I'm hoping to get 475.
Well, I got that. However, what if the market says no?
Then we could cross that bridge when it comes and possibly discuss about lowering it.
Okay, fair. Again, I'm not getting into a wrestling match with her at that point. I'm going to show her the 3 outcome sheets, which you guys have seen, which is right here, right there. I said, well, I'll tell you what, when we launch it at 475, 1 of 3 things will happen. I'm going to go over the 3 outcomes, and I'm going to set up a follow-up meeting on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, Ricky, we'll have a follow-up meeting. What I want you to do is have that outcome sheet handy. And if you've not heard it before, outcome 1 is low to no showings. Outcome 2 is showings and no offers. Outcome 3, it sells. Here's a QR code. You guys take a picture of it, a screenshot. You can download the PDF. I would encourage you to put that in your listing presentation, because now you have set them up for an update every week. And if you're not getting showings, you're way too high. If you're getting showings and no offers, you're a little bit too high, or it will sell. Anybody want to talk about that? And do you like it or you do not like it, etc.?
I like, I'm listening, I'm in the car. I hope the background noise is not too bad, but it's so simple. And it's such a prevalent conversation that it has to have with sellers. And I overthink and overcomplicate and confuse. And it's really, I think, practice, you know. So I'd like to role play that and see how I do that, like it.
So you want to role play that conversation? Yael? You're frozen.
Same one again. Yeah, could you hear me? I don't know.
No, you're frozen. So if you can, because you're driving, turn off your video, and so we won't use the bandwidth. Maybe.
Is it working? Is it working now or no?
It's better. Let's try it until it doesn't work. Okay, so you want to, so you're having the conversation. I'm saying, hey, look, I want 475. And where do you go from there?
I have basically, I have a listing appointment Sunday morning. The seller wants 650, and they want to rent it back for a year at 1,500 to 2,000, so they don't have to pay an exit tax. And I kind of freeze because I like, okay, so that's a scenario that I want to play out.
Okay, they want 650 and want to rent it out.
All right, so I over the phone I said, so if we did 650, you're ready to go ahead? And he said, yeah. So
Okay.
I said, okay, so and now we're at the table, and I'm like, so let's say I'm meeting with Mike and Maria, right?
You're getting a little garbled, so I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah,
Right.
it's not going to work, y'all. You're a little garbled. Maybe try it in a few minutes.
All right. Okay.
So I'll tell you what, we'll do that. So I need a seller. Who wants to be a seller for me? That Kate, you want to do it? You be a seller?
Sure.
Sounds
I'm
good.
brand new. Be easy on me.
Well, you're the seller.
Oh, I'm the seller. Okay.
Yeah. And so you're the seller. You want 650 and you want to rent it out. You want them to rent it back to you for a year.
Sorry, I'm 650 and I want them to rent it back to me.
Yeah, you want to stay in the house a year.
Okay.
That's what I guess for the scenario. It's the same thing. So are you saying, Kate, if we're to list it at 650 today, and we put the stipulation in that you want to find a buyer that will let you stay there up to a year, are you ready to move forward today?
Yes.
Knuckle bump. Awesome. I'm getting the commitment. Now, here, all right, I'm going to back up a minute. I've never said it this way. Let me try this. How many of you guys have lost listings because the seller perceives you're not on their side because you want to get realistic about a number, and your number may be more market realistic yet, but their expectations are still high. Makes them want to interview someone else. Now you may be right on the number. However, somebody else is going to get the listing, and then you watch them work that seller down. Who won and who lost? I'm saying I'm giving the sellers the benefit of the doubt on the number they pick. Now, again, within reason, if it's worth 100,000, they want 100 million, then maybe not. However, if they answer the question after I knuckle bump and say, okay, we're going to list it at 650, and you can find someone that'll let you stay there a year, awesome. Now, do you mind if I move my chair on your side of the table and give you some wisdom on this? What are they going to say? I mean, you've already disarmed them. It's not like you're at battle anymore. You've just said, sure. What are you going to do if the market says no to those requirements? Now, I know that Dustin wouldn't buy a car if it was $10 more a month, unless, of course, it was the only car on the lot, and he needed a car that day to go get a big job done. That's called motivation. If the motivation is big enough for them, they will have to capitulate. If their motivation isn't big enough, they won't. I just think that my approach is it wins more listings. Now, remember, I didn't give them a fake number or fake hope that some sort of pie in the sky number would work. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because, by golly, you can't say with 100% certainty it would not sell at 650 or 475 or whatever.
But what if they compare their home to something across the street that's $100,000 less? Why is someone going to look at their home if they're both the same home and one is $100,000 cheaper?
Right.
It's not.
So what?
Maybe someone will pay $100,000 more when there's another option that's $100,000 cheaper.
Well, they have an expectation in their mind. And the only way, there's nothing you can say, I don't believe, that will totally persuade them to change their expectation. Sometimes reality has to be given to them a scoop at a time over time. Meaning, after a week, no one sees their home. After a month, no one sees their home. The house across the street for $100,000 less sells. What's going on, y'all? Well, listen, if you were buying gas, you could buy it for $1 cheaper. What would you do? So what outcome are we at? We're outcome number one. We're positioned too high. Are you ready to reposition? No. Well, you said you wanted to get to Orlando. So, well, I'm not going to give my house away, but then maybe you should just stay here. You know, all that stuff doesn't matter. Sometimes time has to season someone. I mean, it did with my wife.
So Denny,
you didn't want to go. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
when you agree to that price, do you still slide your chair over to their side of the table and go through the data? Or at that point, is the data irrelevant? I mean,
no, good question. I didn't agree to the price. That was their number. They wanted to start it. Listen to me carefully. And that's a good point. I want to make sure I talked about this with somebody else on the phone this week. When you say that, you cannot say it in a way that they pick up the fact that you agree with it. So are you saying that if we start at 650, Mike, you're ready to move forward today? If he says yes, then I'm going to have a conversation. Now, because we're working together, do you mind if I give you some information or some wisdom on the market?
I would love to have that.
Yeah, and now you're going to go over the fact, okay, well, you're at 650, but notice the house across the street is at 750. So let me ask you, if you were a buyer, which one do you think might sell first?
Well, the one that's cheaper.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you one of three outcomes, one of three things will happen today. It will happen, it will be, I'll go over the fishing sheet.
Yep.
However, it's really clear. I'm glad you asked the way you did. It's not my price. I'm not even agreeing with their price. That's their starting number. Then I will give them counsel on here are the actives here in blah, blah, blah. And then every week that goes by. And the interesting thing here about this sheet and the beauty is, have you ever had a listing at some time? Now it's been 2 or 3 weeks and you want to talk to them about pricing or positioning, and they'll come back. The sellers will say, well, how do you know it's overpriced? No one's come here to see it, or you haven't brought anybody to see it. You got to have to cut that off right at the pass. So who just signed off?
One more thing. They never asked me, but they said they wanted 650, but they never brought up commission. So like, I was like, is 650 what you want in net? When he's saying that, like, so how would you have that the next like commission conversation when they were just like, yes, we've got 650, we're good to go.
Yeah, I would say, is that your initial asking price, or is that your expectation of what you're going
To clarify that with them before you finalize what number they're comfortable moving forward at.
right?
Okay.
And so when they ask the fee, you say, well, the fee is X%. Next question. It's really important. You don't, not that you would, because you're experienced, but a lot of agents would be a little bit tentative or sheepish about the fee. So anyway, all right.
Thank you.
Who's next? We got time for another one, and then some ahas, and then it's happy hour somewhere, I'm sure. So Mike, you're Dorothy. How about Dorothy? You got the camera on. That means you want to play. Sherry, is that? That's not John. John, you're not here, are you? No. I got Palm Springs. Give me one more. You can be the buyer or seller. I'll do the talking. You got the easy part. Give me something tough. It's Friday. You can stump me. 2 tickets to Greece. Great movie. It's on Netflix.
Are you talking to me?
You bet I am.
Oh, hi. I am brand new. This is like my second week. I don't know if I'm ready to jump in with role play just yet.
Well, you can be a buyer or seller, can you?
I suppose.
Yeah, well, Dustin did it. I mean,
Okay.
he's still in the prenatal care. 2 weeks.
Prenatal
Yes.
care?
All right. So you want to be a buyer or seller, Dorothy?
I'll be a buyer.
All right. So I've done all the talking. Who would like to be the agent to help her? And what will be your objection?
My objection, I don't want to spend too much, but I want to get a big house.
Okay. Okay. Your expectations are greater than your budget. How's that?
Yes, that's it.
All right, Mari, who's ready to handle this following the model? Come on. 4 minutes. You can make it through it. Mike, somebody.
Okay.
Who? Mari. All right, you know the model. Dorothy here. So you're role playing as a buyer. What you want to do, be realistic, keep your answers short, because it's what Mari says is more important. All right. So,
Okay.
All right. So her objection is you're having coffee. Hey, listen, I want, I love that house over there. It's like 400,000, but my budget is only 300,000. Go,
Okay.
Mari.
Okay, Dorothy, understand, you like that house that is
Yes.
400 and you're pre-approved for 350. And so Dorothy, let me ask you something. Are you renting or do you own right now?
Good.
Remind me.
Right now I'm renting.
You're renting, okay. So other than trying to get that house that you want for that it's actually more price than what you're pre-approved, is there anything else that is stopping you from buying a home?
No,
Okay. And how long you been renting, Dorothy?
about 5 years.
5 years, okay. And when was the first time you thought about buying?
I started saving about 2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay. So 2 years ago you thought about buying, and why didn't you buy at that time?
I just didn't think I was really financially set up for it.
You couldn't, I'm sorry, you couldn't afford it?
Yeah, I don't think I was there yet.
Okay, But you were pre-approved at that time, or you never run the
No,
numbers?
not yet. I got pre-approved about 6 months ago.
Okay, so let me ask you. So 2 years ago, you didn't know yet you were pre-approved. However, let me ask you, if you were pre-approved, would you have bought it at that time?
Yes.
Now I'm going to stop you. You're doing a great job. Tell them where you're going. Now, Dorothy, you can't really listen. I don't really care. What are you doing, Marty? Because you're following a great path.
So I'm trying to, make her see that, 2 years ago, she thought she couldn't buy it, but if she was able to buy it, she could have bought it. And now she's trying to get something that she's not approved. And maybe she was gonna pass the opportunity again.
Right. That's the point. She's taken her back. You've heard of future pacing. She's taken her back. Well, if you could have done it and you didn't, she's going to add pain now. The pain of not making the decision because she had the ability and didn't act. And that isn't, you don't have to do motivation first necessarily. What she's doing is saying, look, you kind of made a mistake back then, didn't you? Without saying you made a mistake. In fact, I'm not taking your thunder here. If you would have done that, where would you be now? How much more is that house worth? Well, whatever. So that's where she's doing. She's taken her back to kind of help her discover that her past decision-making did not lead her to the right place today. Therefore, maybe her future decision-making isn't going to serve her either. Am I being accurate, Mari? That's what I sense you're doing. So keep going.
Yes,
You're doing great.
Yes. So Dorothy, if you had bought 2 years ago, would you be in a better position today?
I suppose I would be.
Okay. So let me ask you something. If we don't buy now, I mean, I know that you want that $400,000 home, but if we don't buy now and wait for the house that you're looking for, and 2 years pass, how would you feel 2 years from now?
I feel like I'd wasted a lot of time, I guess.
Right. And we're not, I mean, you're here now and you're able to buy. So you want this house for your family. Wouldn't it make sense to buy now that house that is $350 now, and in 2 years, maybe you can buy another home that will have the upgrade that you want. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so let's move forward then.
So awesome job, Mari. And Dorothy, you're first. I'm going to give you a hand. I'm going to give, I call it a ping in what I teach. So give her all a little bit of applause. It's kind of scary sometimes stepping out on stage. Here's the big picture, gang. If a seller is unrealistic on a number, what decision are they making?
Decision not to sell?
Yes, but yeah. However, they're making the decision to stay there, assuming they're owner occupied. And if a buyer is unrealistic on their expectations, what decision are they making, particularly if they're a renter?
To keep renting.
There you go.
You've given someone else your money instead of investing in yourself.
That's right. And so at what point does that person win? I mean, if a buyer is always wanting something they can't afford, at what point do they step into home ownership? This is a Scrabble word that I can get. It's called never.
Yeah.
Those lines never cross. So if somebody is unrealistic, and let's take a case in point. I'm in Florida, and so old people come here, old people, baby boomers, you got it. And and they want to sell here to be closer to their grandkids. Their grandkids are still up in Minnesota, they're still snowing and blizzarding, right? if they're not realistic, here's the question I'm gonna ask you, and I want to hear an audible answer. If they want to sell to move closer to their grandkids, and they're not willing to get realistic on numbers, what decision are they making?
Not seeing their grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're saying, you know what? Seeing my grandkids is not that important. My unrealistic expectation is more important than seeing my grandkids. I'll wait. Okay. Well, how old are your grandkids? Well, they're in elementary school. Okay. Well, sooner, and maybe the market will deliver them their expectations. However, their kids have just graduated, grandkids have just graduated college. So I want you to understand the bigger picture. So in Dorothy's case, she is unrealistic. Mari was attempting to show, hey, look, you know, if you come down to 350 and you're going to have all the things you wanted, and you're going to be able to start working your way up, because unless they capitulate their expectations to their budget, they're making the decision to stay put. And that's very elementary and very basic, however, very huge. And if you can find ways to articulate that to them. Okay, so let me ask you now, Mike, you want to see your grandkids. How many years are you willing to wait to get the number that you have in mind?
Gosh, Denny, they're 4 and 2 now. I feel like I'm already behind on seeing them, and so I really don't want to wait any longer.
No, I don't. I mean, one could get. I mean, that adds a pressure, and I'm not suggesting, although it's in my mind. It's like, oh, well, how many years do you know? We never know. I could get away with saying this with Mike because I'm on Social Security, right? I have grandkids. I've got a grandson graduating high school in a week. So it's kind of like saying, you know, we're not going to be around forever, Mike. You know, every year could be a significant percentage of time lost. Now, that's not dirty pool. I'm just saying I want you guys to understand. Remember, they have a picture in their mind, and that's the reality. What we have to do, following the bases, second base motivation, third base pain, is help them see what they're not seeing. So, you know, for the extra $25,000 you want here on your house here, Mike, what's it worth to you to be able to pick your grandkids up from school every day and take them to the park? And the $25,000 isn't even real money, because if it was worth the extra $25,000, it would sell. So anyway, what do you all think? Yes, the link is the same every week. Did anyone hear something? We have 4 minutes, 5 minutes really. Anyone want to cover something? Did anyone have an aha that made your time worthwhile today? Yes, Jen.
Yeah, I think my aha today was when you said we honestly don't know the highest market value of the house until it's exposed.
Awesome. Thank you. That's huge for me. I want people to understand that. Anything else?
My aha was that we're working together. So do you mind give you some information, some advice?
I missed that. You kind of broke up, Mari. One more time.
So when we are with the seller, and after he agreed to the contract, say, do you mind if I move my chair and give you some wisdom about some information?
Doesn't that question make perfect sense? I mean, who's going to say no? And you don't have to be argumentative. You're just showing, you know, I mean, whatever. That's all. Thanks. One more, and I might even give you an extra couple of minutes. I'm not going to be a Baptist preacher today and keep you past 12 o'clock. Which in growing up here, we were supposed to be out of church at 12. Never. Dustin, you learned something?
It was kind of the same moral as the last class I was in. It's shown, like you keep saying, show them the pain of not doing the deal now. Show them the pain of staying in the position you're in now, as opposed to moving forward somewhere else.
Well, thanks. Well, I'll give you 3 minutes back. I appreciate you being on. We'll be back next Friday. Have a great weekend. In the words of Hill Street Blues, be careful out there. Love you, mean it. Knuckle bump.